You know, essentially, the leather industry has a great story to tell. Charles F Stead is a family tannery. We're based here in Leeds, the only tannery mill in the area which retains its original use. And it's been leather production on this site for 200 years now. 1825 was when it all began. Quality is about, as you know, being a shoemaker, it's about checking in each part of the process. Getting the best raw material, selecting the right material, and then controlling as tightly as possible the process. And here is the first stage where the wet blue material is wetted back, and then it's passed through a set in order to squeeze out any excess moisture, and the material is sorted in accordance to thickness. Here you can see some wet blue hides. They come in. This is the grain side and the flesh side. You can see walking around the tannery, there is heaps of tradition here. There are buildings that are 200 years old, but at the same time, it's crucially important not to rest on your laurels. There are some processes which have to be done the traditional way because this is what works best. But likewise, you have to be open to change. And you will see there is a lot of investment going on here in new equipment. At this point in the suede production, we're trying to take a three-dimensional hide and make it into more of a two-dimensional sheet. And this machine here is splitting to a level substance. So taking off any extra flesh and making sure you have a nice uniform thickness across the whole skin. The reason we're based in Leeds is Leeds historically was a big tanning centre. In the area you had supply of skins from the surrounding farmlands. You have very good supply of soft water, which is great for tanning because the tannery sits on a natural beck and a natural spring. You had heavy industry here during the Industrial Revolution which wanted the skins for all sorts of uses, not just footwear. You had transport with the canal network going to both ports on the east and the west of the country. So here we have a dark brown production for CARMINA. You can see it's still wet. You have the grain side and you have the suede side, which is used on the outside in the footwear. Now the color here will be a lot darker than the finished color. Firstly because it's still wet, and secondly because the suede has yet to be buffed. As you can imagine, being based in the UK in the middle of a large town, absolutely we have to adhere to the very highest environmental standards. We obviously look to improve each year, reducing water consumption and reducing energy consumption. And we have to move with the times. This year we're installing a whole suite of solar panels on the roof. Essentially for all the waxed articles, it'll then go through a plating machine, much like a hot iron. So you'll see in this case it's a waxy kudu skin going in, which has been waxed, and this will just bring it to life with a nice bit of sheen and shine and darken up the wax. So you can see the nice face to the leather now, which taken off and just left to cool on the spider. Thank you, gentlemen. More broadly, it's important to remember that real sustainability comes from people, consumers, buying less products, but of a suitable quality that they can wear them for years after years. And absolutely, this is what we're here to do, and it's what CARMINA are here to do. This is the wet processing, the dye and the re-tanning drums. This is the absolute heart of the tannery. This is where the tanner uses his proprietary know-how, his own recipes, and the material is in here either for 1 or 2 days. In the case of materials like the Janus calf, it comes through here for re-tanning, goes into a crust, and then comes back through the whole process again for tanning at a later point. So any waterproofing is done at this stage. Of course, the color, the amount of fats that you're adding will dictate how soft it is, and many of the other characteristics come from the recipe at this point. Rotating here are the older wooden drums, which still provide a really useful function for us. These hold a little bit more. These hold about 3,000 square feet, and inside it's split into 3 sections for a more level weight distribution, so you don't have too much weight on one side of the drum. In here we have the smaller sample drums. These are also polypropylene, and that means that we can scale up. So for example, to develop a new color, the lab will match on a very small scale. It will then come to the smaller polypropylene drums for sampling, and then into the bigger production drums. Here is the local control screen, which you can see the stage of production in each of the drums, giving you the speed of rotation, temperature, pH at different parts in the process. You know, of course, this is infinitely more sustainable than buying any other shoe. If you're buying a shoe having to replace them every year or 6 months. So for us, it's an easy answer. You know, leather is inherently sustainable. We're taking a waste material and we're making something which is beautiful, which is biodegradable, which is very durable and can be repairable and used for decades. So, you know, we have a strong story to tell there.